Hello, everybody, and welcome back to College Basketball Courtside. Today, I'm going to be ranking the top 5 teams in the Big 12 going into the 2025-2026 season. We're going to get right into it, starting with number 5, Kansas. Last year, they were preseason number 1, and they did not live up to expectations. Kind of a different year with Bill Self in the transfer portal, where he hit it really heavy. Rylan Griffin, Zeke Mayo, Hunter Dickinson, AJ Storr, who's supposed to be a star, only averaged about 6 points per game. But we're going to get right into it. Last year, they were 21-13, and they were 6th in the Big 12. And here's their stats up on the screen. I won't read through them all. You guys can look at them. We're going to first talk about some of their key departures. I just mentioned a few of them. Hunter Dickinson, think what you want about him. He was still an All-American big guy. He graduates, lose to Juan Harris. He was a Kansas guy. He was there for 4 years, starting point guard. He was a veteran leader. He was a great defender, great assist man. They lost Zeke Mayo as well. He was all Big 12 third team, good scoring, good shooting wing, averaged about 14.5 points per game. Those are some pretty big losses, but they did add a few key pieces, and number one piece that they added, and we're all talking about him, Darren Peterson, number 1 player in the country, best freshman in the country, I think. He is fantastic. He's going to be that lead guard spot. Bill Self has already said that this is the best freshman he's ever had. He's going to be asked to do a ton with this Kansas team. I think he's up to the challenge. 6'4", 6'5", 6'10" wingspan, a true combo guard. They also bring in Melvin Council from the St. Bonaventure, the Bonnies. He's a guard, all-conference third team, great defender. He's going to bring a lot to this Kansas team. And then Trey White from Illinois. He's a guard, forward-ish. He's like 6'6", big, about 215, strong. He started for Illinois last season, averaged about 10.5 points. He's going to be really good in the front court or as a big wing for Kansas. And that brings me to the projected starting lineup for this team. I think it's going to be Darren Peterson at the 1, Melvin Council at the 2, Marco Jackson. He was a McDonald's All-American recruited by Bill Self. He was hurt a lot last year. He comes for a big sophomore season. And then the center is Flory Badunga. And if you watched Kansas last year, you know that Flory Badunga is uber talented. McDonald's All-American in high school. He was a freshman playing behind Hunter Dickinson. He's a great defender, fantastic rebounder. Just got to stay out of some foul trouble this year, but he's going to have an awesome season, I think. Now, how can they win the Big 12? What's going to be their key this year? Is Darren Peterson is a National Player of the Year candidate. He is that good, you guys. I think he's going to reach an All-American status this year, put up crazy counting stats, and really elevate the floor and the ceiling of this Kansas team. And then if Flory Badunga blossoms into that big guy who is dunking on everybody, rebounding super well, blocking all the shots, staying out of foul trouble, if he can blossom into that star we think he's going to be, then they can win the Big 12. But they have some issues. Floor spacing. Who's going to be, their knockdown shooter that spaces the floor? It's not Badunga, obviously. He brings nothing in the three-point line. Darren Peterson's a fine three-point shooter, but that's not his game. You still have to respect him from out there. But who's going to be that guy that's going to be a knockdown three-point shooter to space the floor so that Peterson can get to the hole? Badunga can be open on pick and rolls. Who's going to do that for them? And then also, who can get their own bucket besides Peterson? He is really going to has to do a ton when he's off the floor. Who's going to be that guy that initiates the offense, that gets to the hoop, that makes plays for others? Who is that? We need to see somebody step up. It could be Melvin Council, could be Marco Jackson. We'll see. But that is number 5, Kansas. I think they're going to have a bounce back year with Bill Self. He's excited for this team. I'm excited for this team. But that leads me to number 4, Iowa State. Last year they were 25-10. They were 5th in the Big 12. Here are their stats on the screen here. Look through those. One thing I did want to point out is that they were 1st in field goal percentage. This is a very smart team. They take a lot of good shots. They're well coached, but they did lose some pretty key players last year. Curtis Jones came off the bench, but he averaged about 17 a game. He was their leading scorer, all Big 12 player, All-American honorable mention. He was fantastic for them off the bench last year. He really was. He played, starter minutes. He played all the time. Just came off the bench, and that was his role. That's what he liked. They also lose Keyshawn Gilbert, who's all Big 12 third team. But they did add Dominic Nelson. He was the WAC Player of the Year. Really good scoring guard. I think he's going to bring a lot for this Iowa State team, but I think he's going to be on the bench to start, which leads me to my projected starting lineup for them. First, Tamin Lipsey, he's the guy to look out for this year. He's been starting at Iowa State for a couple of years now. He's a all Big 12 first-team kind of defender. He's one of the best perimeter defenders in the entire country, I think. Maybe the best defender in the country on the perimeter. He's fantastic. Let's see if he can make that scoring jump in his final season. Jamarion Bateman, he's going to be the starting shooting guard. Milan Mamasiewicz, sorry about that pronunciation. He's going to be the small forward, really good shooter. He is fantastic. He was good for the Cyclones last year. Josh Jefferson, he's going to start at the power forward. And then Blake Buchanan from Virginia is going to start at the center, I believe. Big guy. I think he brings a lot of value, actually, with this Iowa State team. He's going to be a good fit. But how can they win the Big 12? How can Iowa State, push through and beat these, blue bloods, beat Kansas, Houston? They have one of the best defenses in the Big 12 and maybe in the country, led by Lipsey. Buchanan's a great rim protector, great defending big man. They have great defense, and that's how going to be their calling card this year. And they have a good mix of veterans and then explosive young players as well. That's always good for a team to have those veterans to lead the super talented young guys. They have that here with Iowa State. But how are they not going to win the Big 12? What's holding them back right now? High-end scoring. They don't have that go-to guy right now. Lipsey's their best player, but he's never averaged over 10 points a game. He's only been at 10, not even at 11 in his career. So is he going to make a jump to 16 points per game? Probably not, right? That's not very realistic to ask of him. So who's going to be that guy that scores, that, hey, we're in a scoring drought. We need something. Give it to him. Who's going to be that guy? Not sure. But Iowa State, number 4, they're going to have a great season. That leads me to number 3, Texas Tech. Last year, they were 28-9. They were second in the Big 12. Here are their stats right here on the screen. They were third in points. They were, look at their three-point shooting, too. They were third in percentage, second in attempts, second in three-pointers made. They were a really good three-point shooting team, and they had one of the best players in the Big 12 last year, the best player in the Big 12 last year, JT Toppin, and he comes back. But they do lose some very key pieces, starting with Darion Williams. He transferred to NC State. Gosh, he would have been so good for Texas Tech this year. I wish he stayed, but NC State and Will Wade have a good team over there. He averaged 15 points per game for them. Good wing, great offensive player. That's a really big loss for them. They also lose Chance McMillan. He graduated, averaged 14 points per game for Texas Tech last year. Super efficient shooter, free throw line, three-point percentage, field goal percentage. He was awesome shooting the basketball. That's going to be a big miss. But they do have some good additions, I think. Lawan Watts, he's a transfer from Washington State. Big physical forward, averaged just about 14 points per game over at Washington State. And then Donovan Atwell, transfer from UNC Greensboro, so smaller school. Obviously, we'll see how he plays in the Big 12, but fantastic high-volume three-point shooter. That is what they need by losing McMillan. Maybe he can take that spot. But the projected starting lineup, it's going to be Christian Anderson at the point guard. He's going to be the lead guard this year. He's going to be fantastic. Had a great summer and spring with Germany team. Led him to the U19 FIBA Cup championship game. Lost to Team USA. But he is awesome. Donovan Atwell, shooting guard. Lawan Watts, small forward. JT Toppin, he's going to be the power forward. I think he's going to be Big 12 Player of the Year is my prediction. And then Luke Bambui. I don't think I said that correctly, but he's going to be the center, great shot blocker. How can they win the Big 12, though? What's going to push them to that upper echelon? Last year, they had an awesome season, but they lost a ton with McMillan and Williams. How are they going to be back this year? They have the best player, JT Toppin, and that is always going to help your case. If you have the best player on the floor in 99.9% of your games, I have faith in you, right? That is one reason. And then they have great outside shooting with Atwell, with Watts. These new guys that are coming in are going to bring a lot of good shooting that they lose out on, plus Christian Anderson. That's how they're going to win the Big 12. But what's going to hold them back? They lose a ton of talent. I've already mentioned it a few times with Williams and McMillan. And then also, who's going to make a three outside the backcourt? Obviously, Anderson and Atwell, are going to be fantastic shooters. Watts is a pretty good shooter, but, their bigs don't bring any floor spacing. JT Toppin's not a shooter. Their backups, who's going to come in, make a couple of shots when needed. I'm worried about their depth a little bit, but they're going to be fantastic. Number 3, Texas Tech. That leads me to my number 2 spot and probably my most excited team in the country, one of the most exciting teams in the country for me, BYU, they had a terrific season last year. 26-10, tied for third in the Big 12 at the end of the season. And look at their stats, you guys. Second, fourth, third, second. In all their stats. 3-point shooting, second, first. They take a lot of threes. They make a lot of threes. That's a recipe for success, and they are only getting better. They do lose Igor Demon to the NBA. Big guard. He's about 6'7", ran the point. He was really good at distributing the ball, averaged a little over 10 points per game. He was really good. They lose him, which sucks, but they also gained Robert Wright from Baylor, who's going to be fantastic, I think. They also lose Cannon Catchings. I think he's going to be a breakout star for Georgia this year. Fantastic freshman season. Very productive. Played behind a really good backcourt, so he didn't see a ton of minutes, but when he did, he was super productive, and the talent is obviously there. He's going to have a good year at Georgia, but they do bring in the number 2 player in the country. You guys, this conference has the top 2 players in the country. AJ DeBanza. He's going to be fighting with Peterson and probably Cam Boozer for that number 1 draft pick next year. But he comes in. He's fantastic. 6'9". Going to be the tallest guy in the starting lineup. Probably going to lead them in scoring. He's probably going to be around 18 to 20 points per game. He's fantastic. They also get Kennard Davis Jr. Transfer from Southern Illinois. Physical guard, wing. He can shoot the 3 at a high volume. He's really good. I think he's going to be at the 4 spot. And then they also bring on, like I said, Robert Wright, point guard from Baylor, highly touted recruit. He's going to be fantastic. Great setup man. So who's going to be their starting lineup? Robert Wright, point guard. Richie Saunders, shooting guard. All Big 12 burst team. He was awesome last year. Big 12 newcomer of the year. He is terrific. Small forward, AJ DeBanza, and those 2 can really flip. And honestly, even these 3 with Kennard Davis at the 4, because AJ DeBanza is the tallest guy on this team, in the starting lineup at least. So they can really be interchangeable. They're going to be play fast, shoot threes, get to the hoop, play in transition, and then Kiba Kite is going to start at the center. Now, how can they win the Big 12? I think they have one of the best teams in the Big 12 last year, and they bring in AJ DeBanza, Robert Wright, Kennard Davis this year. So they have a lot of talent that they already had and then just kept adding even more. They're going to be awesome from a talent standpoint, and on paper, better than most teams. AJ DeBanza, he's all-American potential. He's versatile. He is a guy you can give the ball and said, go give me 20, and he's going to do it in his sleep. He averaged about 7 free throw attempts in FIBA. He's fantastic. Has always been a jumbo guard that can score at will. But what's holding them back? Why aren't they number 1? There's obviously some reasons. Let's get into them. Size. DeBanza's the tallest player, but who's they going to throw on a big guy? Who's going to stop Trey Kaufman-Renn, Yaxel in the Big Ten? They have Flory Badunga. He's a monster, a physical freak. JT Toppin. Who's going to guard him? I think their defense could really struggle this year, which means that's my second point. And then also they have a lot of new talented faces. How is that going to mesh, with a lot of guys who like to shoot the ball and or have always been the guy on their team? How are they going to mesh? How's that chemistry going to come along? I'm not worried. They're well coached. AJ DeBanza has been a selfless player throughout his career. Robert Wright, great player. Saunders is just fantastic and more of a spot-up shooter anyway. So they're going to be great. BYU number 2, but this leads me to my number 1 spot. The defending Big 12 champions, national champion runner-ups last year, number 1, Houston. They were 35-5 last year. First in the Big 12, but look at their stats. You look at these stats and you think, how the heck were they, top of this league last year? And I think showing these stats is important because it's what you don't see with the defense and how good their defense is. They can be 10th in scoring, 15th in assists, middle of the road for rebounds, good shooting percentages, don't make a lot of threes, but they are so dang good defensively. Kelvin Sampson has his team always rocking and playing hard. They are awesome to watch. They're so fun. You get those games where maybe someone hasn't scored in 5 to 7 minutes, which is frustrating, but that's what college basketball is all about. And now who do they lose, though? Who's Houston leaving this year? LJ Cryer, he graduated. He was the leading scorer at right under 16 points per game. He was a guy that could get his own shot when the offense stalled. They also lose Jawan Roberts, big man, physical. He graduated. He was a typical Houston guy, just gritty. But they bring in some good freshmen. This is shocking for a Houston team. 3 highly rated recruits, but I'm going to highlight 2 of them right now. Chris Sinak Jr., He is a humongous athlete. He's about 6'10", 6'11", freak athlete, going to block a lot of shots, dunk a lot. He is great. He's probably going to start for them. Top 10 recruit. I think he's number 6. Isaiah Hartwell, freshman. He's just a smooth shooter, kind of get his own shot off. Just really talented, top 15 recruit in the country. I think he's going to start too. But who else is going to round out that starting lineup? Milos Uzan, point guard, all Big 12 contributor last year. He's going to be fantastic. I think he's going to be that guy for Houston this year. Isaiah Hartwell at the shooting guard spot. Just talked about him. Emmanuel Sharp, really good year last year. Averaged about 12 points per game. I think might have a little more, but great defender. Typical Houston guy, selfless. These guys are really interchangeable to front court. Chris Sinek Jr., just talked about him. And then Joseph Tugler, he's in my top 10 Big 12 players video. He's the best defender in the country. He's going to anchor that Houston defense. Kelvin Sampson, if he can make a guy in a lab, it's Joseph Tugler because he's just a bulldog. Fantastic defender, best in the country. Now, how are they going to win? How can they hold on to that title they won last year? They have the best defense in the country. I don't think it's even that close, really. The guards are big. They're physical. They're athletic, side to side. Chris Sinek Jr., freak athlete, huge size. Joseph Tugler, best defender in the country. Block a lot of shots, guard the perimeter. They are fantastic on defense. So many teams have so many problems with them. Look out for some starter players to really struggle against this Houston team. But what's going to hold them back? What's going to make BYU push them forward? Texas Tech, these other teams I'm talking about, how are they going to be able to catch up to Houston? Losing LJ Cryer really hurts because Uzan and Sharp aren't really guys that, hey, go get us one. We just need a bucket. Everyone clear out. LJ Cryer had that kind of ability. Who's going to do that this year? Not sure. How will the young guys fare with Kelvin Sampson, too? He's not a guy who likes to play freshmen. He doesn't recruit freshmen. He builds them up. He's not going to play them year one, kind of like Izzo. But these guys are so talented. How are they going to fit in? I think fantastic. Kelvin Sampson, I think, is one of the best coaches in the country. So he's going to get them right. But you guys, that is my top 5 teams in the Big 12 for the 2025-2026 season. This is going to be such a tight race, I think. Every game's going to be a battle. This is a pretty top-heavy conference, I think. Only other team I was considering was Arizona, Koa Pete, Barrios. They are going to be awesome this year for Arizona as some freshmen. But you guys, this is College Basketball Courtside. Thank you for watching and have a great day.